Right, channel of light fluid. Yes, it's time to return back to Lyre. Delayed a week as I was pretty sick last weekend with respiratory syncytial virus. More or less over it, so we're going to see how it goes today and how long this video ends up being. I definitely want you to get back to the story and carry on after that cliffhanger we had. So that's really all I'm going to say for that. Let's get back to it. So I'm making my way around a desk. One of my legs gives out and I collapse to the floor. No. All of a sudden, a massive pain shoots up my spine and through my head. Why now? The pain becomes unbearable. I let out a horrible yell of agony. My eyes feel like they're about to fall out of my head. The door of my head opens. Your Majesty? Yours. He cuts himself off and I hear him turn to someone behind him as I struggle to get up. Oh, something's wrong. Stay here. At this point I can barely hear the sounds of heavy footsteps over my own heartbeat. I manage to bring myself to a kneeling position. Stop right there. He stands over me with his sword drawn. What have you? He looks at me, then down at my hands before rushing over to the bed, his cape billowing behind him. At first I don't hear anything. It's as if the whole world has gone silent. All I can hear is the blood rushing through my veins. Finn, alert the castle. King Raynar is dead. What? But he's only in here for... Go, now. I'll deal with it. I hear footsteps running into the hall and down the stairs. Slowly I wrench my body around so I'm facing the knight. He prepares to raise his sword. You'll die for this, foreign scum. My heart is racing and I find myself unable to get a clear sentence out. I quickly gather myself. He brings his sword down and I swiftly roll to the side. His sword catches in the ground and gets stuck. I now on all fours and try to break into a sprint. I can't remember the last time I've done this. I don't have time to revel in my reflexes, though. My feet slip on the floor, but I regain control and bound towards the door. Just as I reach the entryway, the rug gives out and I slip, slamming my forehead into the ground. Everything goes hazy, and in an act of sheer will, I lift myself up and turn around, trying to regain my vision. The bear has pulled his sword out from the ground and is lumbering toward me. Please, you're making a terrible mistake. What's the meaning of this? Lyre rushes into the doorway, his paw placed on the pommel of his dagger, ready to draw. I watch his eyes settle on me and then he looks up to the bear. Sir Bjorn, lay down your sword this instant. He killed the king. His eyes contract and I watch the fear wash over his body. What? He looks behind us at the body laying on the floor. I caught him trying to run away from the scene of the crime. No, it wasn't like that. I was running to... Quiet! Lyre then looks down at me. His face has a mixture of shock and anger. He looks up at Bjorn. Lay down your sword! His voice is shaking. It's the first time I heard him shout and it's terrifying. Bjorn is reluctant, he lowers his sword. He walks up to me and stands over me for a moment. Lyre, please. It wasn't me. He looks down at me with fear and then looks up at Bjorn. I can see he's clearly conflicted. My heart is thumping in my chest and I feel like a cornered animal. Lyre then bends down and grabs my arm. He's not gripping me too hard, but slowly lifts me up. Lord Ifor, you're under arrest for suspicion of crimes against the Kingdom of Lyre, and the murder of King Raynar. He takes a pair of shackles and binds my hands behind me. What? Is this seriously happening? Lyre, you know I didn't do it. Bjorn is standing by the king, clearly not happy with this outcome. I'll take him to the dungeons. No, I'll take him. Has the rest of the castle already been alerted? I see him tighten his grip on the pommel of his dagger. Yes, I sent Finn to alert the castle. His grip loosens and I can feel him tug on my shackles. So he turns away, he whispers in my ear quickly. It's an extremely quiet whisper, but I pick up on it. Trust me. A slight wave of relief washes over me. I don't know what he could possibly have planned, but anything's better than being executed on the spot for a crime I didn't commit. He begins to lead me to the door. Go on, I need you to stay here and wait for the others to arrive. I'm sure they'll be here soon. Understood. Bjorn lumbers over to Raynar's body, getting down on one knee. Lyre leads me out in the hallway and he almost breaks into a sprint. He doesn't talk. He just looks straight ahead. After we descend the spiral staircase, he slows his pace a bit. I can't tell if he's angry at me or not. Lyre, you know I didn't do it, right? More silence. I hear bells start to toll off in the distance. This end of foreboding feeling running up my spine. My eyes start to water as the fear takes over. Every part of my body is shaking. We come to a junction in one of the hallways. There's a loud commotion up ahead, so he takes me down another hall. Once we reach ground floor, we spot Kadaj walking down the hall with 2 Drishtian guards behind him. Lyre keeps moving forward, not paying him any mind. Ifor, what in the name of Tigran has happened? Lyre ignores this and keeps walking. All I can do is look at him with a desperate expression. I don't know what I can do right now. I'm still recovering from the shock. I find it very hard with all the shaking. I think Kadaj realises something is terribly wrong, so he starts to walk faster towards the commotion. His guards follow him quickly behind him. We descend further and further down to the castle's lower floors. It becomes colder and colder. I can feel goosebumps rising on my skin. Lyre takes me down a hall with several cell doors. He goes to the very end and locks a door that leads to a large cell. It's terribly dark down here. My eyes don't have time to adjust to the shadows. I can't even see Lyre. Ifor. Yes? I hear him fall to his knees. He's crying, I can tell. He wraps his arms around me and pulls me into a tight hug. What he does is he also unlocks the restraints around my wrists. They fall to the ground behind me with a thud, landing on something soft. I'm so sorry. I should have went with you from the beginning. I didn't want you to feel like I was babying you. I should have gone with you, though. It's my job. I should have gone with you. I should have. I grasp his face from what I can see in the dark and give him a kiss. You couldn't have known. He gasps and lets out a shaky exhale. What happened up there? I don't know. I walked into his chambers and the entire place was dark. He wasn't there, so I went to leave, but then I saw how trashed the room was. After that, that's when I found... My hand comes up to my mouth. I remember the vivid imagery. I try my best to hold myself back from vomiting. Thankfully, I keep it down. I don't know why they think it was me. They were found at the scene of the crime. Nobody else had gone in there, so it had to be you in their eyes. Then why was he dead? Oh, I don't know. The body was freshly killed, too. You don't actually think I... Of course not. There's a shaky sigh and hugs me. I had to arrest you. Otherwise you'd been executed on the spot. Why were they going to do that? They aren't supposed to, but Bjorn isn't a rule follower. He likes to seek justice in his own way. He pauses and I can feel him shaking. Lyre, you just saved my life. He hugs me tighter and then releases me. You'll have to spend the night here. Okay. And I'll have to go. This makes my heart sink, but I'll accept it. Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry. We will get this all sorted out, don't worry. They'll understand. With that, he gives me a soft kiss on the cheek. He stands and I can hear him lock the door behind me. I love you, Ivor. I'll come back for you. Sir Reed, the prince. Yes, I know. The last noise I hear other than the chiming bells is the sound of his footsteps as they run off. I don't know what to do. A million thoughts run through my head, for they all conjoin at the same path. What happens next? I find a stone bench in the dark and lay down on it. Tears stream down the side of my face, but I don't care anymore. All I can do is succumb to the darkness as I pass out. No dreams tonight. Just one word echoes through my mind like a bell. Wits. Reality slowly drifts in front of my face, in a similar way to how a ray of sunshine would cast a red glow on the inside of your eyelids. Every day, waking up becomes harder and harder. Sometimes I can't even understand if this is a normal thing, if I'm just weak. I never was a morning person. Slowly, each of my 5 senses come back to me. I immediately remember where I am and why I'm here. Usually when I wake up in a new or unfamiliar place, I'm struck with a bit of confusion before realising where I am. It's different this time, though. This isn't like waking up in another person's house after spending the night with them. This is different because the events that led to it haunted my dreams. I knew I was going to wake up to this. Images of Raynar's body slumped onto the floor with soulless eyes invade my mind. But I'd rather not think about any of that yet, as I'm not fully awake. I strain my eyes open wider and wipe the feeling of dried tears from my face. The stone bench that I'm lying down on is cold and smooth. Painfully, I sit up and look around. What I assumed to be a sack that I was lying my head on was actually a pillow made from straw and a ragged cloth. There's a large tarp bundle up the end of the bench, which I guess is supposed to be a blanket. I wasn't too cold last night, but I wish I'd known that it was there. This cell wouldn't be too bad if the bed wasn't a giant slab of rock. I'm better off sleeping on the floor. The only window is a small hole busted into the wall that's barred off. On the other side is a cell door that's locked with heavy chains. Along with that is straw laid all over the floor and a few puddles of water. The shackles I wore for a short time last night are laying there in a pile of straw. That's why they must have fallen after Lyre took them off me. I get out from my sitting position and stand, stretching out my legs and arms. My clothes feel dusty and any skin I have exposed feels dry and dirty. My hair feels messy and I shake my head, letting it straighten itself or haphazardly tying it back again. I don't really care about it looking nice anymore. I'd just rather not have any hair in my eyes. I'd cut it, but I have a feeling Lyle likes it too much. Lyle. He said he'd come back for me, but he didn't say when. Now that I think about it, why hasn't anything happened yet? Shouldn't someone have come down to see me now, good or bad intentions? I sit back down on the slab of stone. My mind seems to be all over the place. Can't decide what to think about. I try to distract myself with other issues. My thoughts always wander back to the worst place. Raynar is dead. They'll think I did it. Except Lyle, of course. I'm honestly surprised he doesn't think it's me, though. The body was freshly killed and I was the only one there. If only I could function better under stress. I can't believe this. If I wanted to kill Raynar, I probably would have planned it so I'm not standing like an idiot when it happens. Shock really took me over there. I also got another one of those sudden headaches. If I get out of this, I need to get those checked out. Whatever they are caused by, it can't be good. Tapping my feet on the ground in front of me, I notice a chair that's been thrown against the wall. Its pieces are scattered all over the floor and look old and rotten. Who could have killed him? Several people come to mind. When I think about it, I don't know what any of them are capable of. Nobody reasonable really comes to mind. There's one thing I'm certain of, though. I was framed. Someone has it out for me, I don't know who. I could sit here and rack my brain for hours, but I soon hear footsteps echoing down the damp hall. I don't get up from my seat until I really start to listen to the footsteps. They're extremely familiar. I jump up and run to the cell door. Lyle? He gets closer and soon I can see him down the bend of the hall. Ifor. He approaches the door to the cell. There's a look of worry on his face and I can tell he's been having a rough day. Probably has it worse than I do. I limply reach my hand through one of the bars. He gets on his knees and takes it in his paw. I'm sorry, I should have come down sooner. I wasn't able to, though. Why not? His sad and tired eyes look up at mine and I can see the stress. The entire kingdom is in shambles. Rumours already begin to spread throughout the town. Everyone thinks that you killed Raynar. It's only a matter of time before this spreads throughout the rest of the north. I figured that would happen. Has anything worse happened? No, but the worst is yet to come. Everyone is scared, confused and furious. I and several others were up half the night with Liz trying to wrap our heads around it. Others? Yes. Anyone who was a witness and several other officials. The prince joined us halfway through. How has he taken it? Oh, not well. The bell started ringing and he locked himself in his room after finding out. Didn't even want to see the body. But to be honest, I wouldn't want to see it either if I were him. One of the guards told me he could hear sobbing and things being thrown around the room. Oh God. He probably thinks I did it. I wouldn't blame him, but I really don't need more reason for him to hate me right now. He joined us about an hour later. Not before kicking over your chair, of course. I can imagine that. Well, he can honestly be forgiven for losing his temper. Agreed. He had enough stability to contribute to our little debate last night, however. What has been discussed so far? He sits down in front of the cell door and leans his head back against the wall. I do the same, finding a nice pile of straw to sit down on. We mostly tried to figure out what we were going to do next. Laying our king to rest is one of the topics. That should be taken care of soon. I still can't believe he's dead. Well, neither can I. He wanted to be buried next to his wife. Behind the gardens? Yeah. How did you know where she's buried? I was taking a walk through the gardens after we visited the village when I happened upon the grave. Raynar was there and we talked for a bit. You came back to my room drunk that night, so I didn't get to tell you. Yeah. He was paying his respects, and I caught him in a bit of a vulnerable moment. After that, we just talked for a bit. We went there every month. Right now, they're already making the arrangements to have him buried there. The biggest topic was what this means. Some see this as an act of war, but I doubt that. I feel there's something far more sinister at play. I feel the same way. Given the exchange of ambassadors was proposed by the Kingdom of Erin, Prince Adris thinks that you were sent to cause chaos and weaken Lyre. That's ridiculous. Erin would never dream of starting conflict between the kingdoms. Why would they want to start a war with Lyre and Driss? Well, that's not what they're thinking. Majority of people see this as an attack on Lyre from both kingdoms. What? You have reason to suspect that Driss is part of this plot. The kingdom of Lyre has been becoming more and more isolated over the years. Trade's been slowing down. They have suspicions that Eren and Triss are trying to seize control to benefit themselves. At least that's what I heard. I'm not a politician. This doesn't make any sense. Seize control? Improving relations between the kingdoms is the desirable outcome, simply due to the fact all the kingdoms will benefit equally. Starting a conflict, let alone a full-on war, would be detrimental to the entirety of Tigran. No. I don't think that's what's happening. Oh, neither do I. Just doesn't make any sense. Either way, even though Lord Kadaj was appointed Minister for Foreign Relations, Prince Adris considers him a political hostage. Nothing too serious has been decided yet, considering Triss is only under suspicion of collusion. I assure you, I haven't been scheming with Kadaj. I know. Trust me, Ifor, I believe you. I can't help but remember the conversation that Kadaj and I had the other day. They fear that Lyre is fallen out of touch with the rest of the kingdoms. So it's true. The kingdoms do fear that Lyre is fallen out of touch. Even some of the citizens of Lyre feel this way. But he said his goal was to bring stability. So he couldn't have a hand in this. Could he? I don't remember seeing him before I left the party last night. Thankfully, Liz somewhat agrees with me. Really? Yes. She also believes there's something far more complex going on here. The only bad part is she's still conflicted on whether she thinks you're the one who did it or not. That makes sense. She doesn't really know me. Anything she does know would definitely be confusing. I tried to convince all of them you were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. That you were framed. What did they think of that? Well, they seem to consider it as a possibility. Prince Adris is currently blinded by hatred, but in the near future I can see him considering it as well. I doubt that. It's nice to hear I'm not seen as completely guilty yet. Each moment we continue to talk about this, and every second I learn what's happening, I get more and more stressed. There's another thing. He sits up a bit and leans towards the cell door. We have a lot more information considering the scene of the murder. That's what I've been doing most of the time. With anything that could prove my innocence? Oh, nothing yet. But there's been some very helpful insight. Like what? Well, first there's the body. He was stabbed twice in the stomach, once in the chest, then most likely had his throat slit to finish the job. Raynar was most likely caught off guard. His antlers tore through the drapes after getting caught in a struggle. We found flakes of gold stuck on the cloth next to the rips. They're from the antler he decorated for the ball. I feel my insides twist around a bit as I recall the image of the room. Yes, that's interesting. Any important revelations? Yes, there is. The guards confirmed to us that people had been in the room around the time before his death. Who else was there? The guards posted outside the staircase that leads up the tower to his room confirmed that 4 people had been in there around that time. One of the guards, Bjorn, Lord Kadaj, you, and of course Raynar. With Bjorn going in and out within the hour. I knew it. What? Kadaj wasn't at the party when we left, was he? I don't remember seeing him. I think he and Raynar must have slipped out early. Maybe to take care of something similar to what he had in mind with me. That is most likely what happened. We questioned him a little last night. He said he was handling some important business with Raynar. Official question hasn't begun yet, but maybe he knows what happened. Or maybe... He leans forward in interest. What? Maybe he had a hand in it? His eyes gleam with shock at first, but I see his thoughts and watch as he considers the possibility as if he's already done it before. Even I have to admit it's not something I'd want to believe, but given the things he's said in the past, it's not far off. He alluded to events going on in a desirable direction after the winter solstice. Lyle speaks up. Oh, it's not impossible. Bjorn is currently giving his full report to Liz, so we'll find out soon, I guess. But yes, it's completely possible for him to have done it. Do you think he did it? Like Lyle said, it's possible, but I don't want to believe it. Bjorn could have done it too. Are we sure no one else was in there that night? Oh, positive. Not only do we have Bjorn's brief report, but several canines, including myself, sniffed around the room. Oh yeah, that would be helpful. I forgot you could do that. It's funny to imagine Lyle with his nose pressed to the ground, sniffing like a bloodhound. No, that's how he did it, though. Yes. We only picked up the scent of 4 people. Those are the people who were noted. Damn. There goes my hopes of it being someone else. There's long signs for I finally answer his question from before. You asked if I think it's him. The thing is, I don't want it to be. But it definitely could be. I agree. But I thought you didn't trust him. Or at the very least didn't like him. He slumps down lower in his sitting position. I didn't trust him because I saw him as a man with a motive. Someone who wanted to climb the ranks. I never would have imagined he would do something like this. He pinches the part of his muzzle between his eyes and runs a paw over his head. I do want to believe that it wasn't him. But only because it would mean trust had nothing to do with this. He lowers his paw and looks to the floor. I'll leave Bjorn. If it was him, then it would mean it's not a foreign attack, which would make this much more complicated. I also don't think it could be him. He's always been a beast, but his devotion to this kingdom is unchallenged. I guess that makes sense. Still, it has to be one of them. Unless... Oh, what is it? Adrius. What if he... It's not out of the question, but it's extremely improbable. Especially with the evidence we have so far. What if it was patricide? What? What are you saying? You know what patricide is, right? Of course I know what patricide is. You think Adrius killed his dad? I shrug my shoulders. It's not an impossibility. He wasn't in the room at the time, though. I know. He was out in the village last night. I saw him by the fountain. Lyle thinks for a moment. That explains why the exit of the tunnel was unlocked. But still, you said it yourself, he wasn't even there. You don't have to be in the same room as someone to have them killed. Even so, we don't know if he was out there the whole night. What motive would he have? He says this in a hushed whisper, annoyance in his voice. Everyone needs a motive, but his is easy to figure out. I'm all right. He cuts himself off and thinks for a moment. Don't think you're being a little biased? No. I mean, we have to consider all possibilities. He looks down on the ground and wrinkles his snout. I understand what you're saying. And I know you also don't like him. I know he doesn't like you too. Hell, even I'm not particularly fond of him. Lately they may have been a bit distant or short with each other due to stress. You've only been here a month. You haven't seen their full relationship. He loved his father. And his father loved him. He bites his lip a bit, but continues. Last night he was enraged. He was going through so many emotions, and they all felt genuine. And you know how I'm a good judge on these things. I know, I just thought I'd throw it out there. I just had this feeling it might be true. Why? I don't know for sure. He's been saying things to me recently. I have the feeling he has it out for me. He curls his lip in response to this. And not too long ago, Kadaj gave me some advice. To trust my own judgment and rely on what I know. To put trust in other people, but never as much as I trust myself. Lyre runs a paw through his fur, listening intently. I can just feel it in my gut that he has something to do with this. His paws brush up against his knees as he considers it. Well, I don't know, Ifor. Maybe you're right, but we should have stopped throwing around suspects. By that logic, we expect the damn servant that saw me half naked last night. Maybe he killed the king and went to go and frame you. He exhales and gathers himself. Well, that doesn't mean he was the one who did it. We have to focus on the solid suspects that we have now. That's our best chance of proving your innocence. Suddenly a sharp pain shoots through my body, straight up to my head. Shouldn't we be considering all our options? My life depends on this. I shout this at him, a searing pain taking over. This upsets him, and once the pain is gone, I instantly regret it. I'm sorry, Lyre. I didn't mean to yell at you, I just... Oh, it's fine, I understand. I know this must be stressful for you. No, it's more than that. I'm just tired of talking about this. I lay back on the floor and stare at the ceiling. Something's wrong with me. Well, like what? I'm not sure. Maybe it's these headaches I've been having, but it's something else too. I feel like things are going so fast. Like I'm on a carriage going down a hill and there's no way to stop it. I pause to collect my thoughts, now I'm about to go on a very large rant. I always try to keep a level head. I was trained to become a master of my emotions. But sometimes I slip. Situations become too stressful and nothing prepares you what happened last night. I froze. It's been happening all the time. I get stressed out and make impulsive decisions and do stupid things. I run my hands through my hair and squint my eyes, the pain still thumping in my head. Lyre, I'm so scared. He shuffles on the ground a bit and then leans forward, a solemn look on his face. I know how you feel, Ifor. Believe me, I do. Sometimes we try to do our best to be prepared for anything. He looks down at his paw, opening and closing the fingers. But fear gets the better of us. Sometimes it can control us and influence our actions. Looks out a window to our left with a conflicted expression on his face. Ifor, do you know the reason why I blamed myself for our queen's death? Why is he bringing this up? It's because you could have stopped it, right? Yes. He stares off into space for a moment before continuing. When I had my eye cut, I couldn't move. Blood was pouring into my eye, and I thought the worst had happened. Fear took over and I froze up. He rubs his paw over his eye. My officer tried to shake me and get me up, but I lost my footing. I wasn't in the moment. Everything happened so fast and I was scared. These words echo down the corridor. He looks up at me. That haunted me for a long time, Ifor. I even approached Raynar about it a few years ago because of the pain. I asked him, how could I have been brave in that situation? He gave me some advice. He said, you can't be brave unless you are afraid. Along with, otherwise you're just reckless, but that's beside the point. He gives a slight smile. And he's right. You have to stay brave. Fear can help with that. With that, he ends his speech. I guess I understand what you're saying. I aimlessly fiddle the ring on my finger as I take it all in. I'll need to work on that. It's pretty good advice. It's full of good advice. Lyre says this with a sense of pride. You really admired him, didn't you? It was more than just your dedication as a knight. Oh, I did. Ever since I started living here, he was like my second father. I was practically raised by him in my teen years. Please tell me you've had time to grieve. Not really. I have to focus on what's going on now. It's what he would want me to do. He'd be very proud of you, Lyre. He gives a slight smile. I hope so. And I'm going to make him even more proud. I'm going to do everything in my power to get you out of here, love. Raynar may be dead, but I'm going to continue to follow through with the orders he gave me. I'll assist you in any way I can. He stands and sticks a paw through the bars. I get up and take it in my own hand. I love you, Lyre. I love you too, Ifor. I just hope we're doing the right thing. You know, by being together. What do you mean? Well, it's just that I love you, Ifor. But you said everything was moving too fast. And if you want to slow down, we can. I run my hand over his paw, feeling the pads beneath the glove and running my fingers along his. Lyre, I wouldn't say this is from my experience, but I know one thing about this world. Love happens in all kinds of ways. Sometimes it's slow, other times it's fast. Sometimes it's between people who are similar, and sometimes it's between people who are very, very different. I say this and I run my hand across his cheek. You're very different from me. It's happening very fast, and it happened at a very chaotic time in our lives, but it's the only fast thing in my life that I'm enjoying. You're my light in the dark. He leans forward, pressing his snout through the bars and gives me a kiss on the forehead. You make me so happy, Ifor. Next time I come down here to visit you, I'm going to see about unlocking this door. Maybe I'll even get you better living arrangements. Well, I don't know if I have control over that. I'll definitely put you in one of the better cells, though. I appreciate everything you've done so far. He gives a slight bashful smile. Speaking of, I should probably be going. I have a lot to do and can't be gone for long. Oh yes, I'm sure our new king is just itching to order you around. I say this, rolling my eyes. Actually, he's still the prince. Really? But he's the heir. He hasn't been crowned yet. Until then, as the king's head advisor, Liz is acting queen. Oh, so that's why she's been handling everything. Yes. This whole ordeal has put a heavy burden on her shoulders. It's even worse considering she just got back. She's handling it well, though. Responsibility is one of her strengths. He rubs a finger on one of the metal bars, collecting dust on the tip of his glove before rubbing it off. Speaking of them, others might come down to talk to you. Ask questions and whatnot. I know you're smart, so play the situation to your strengths. Okay, I'll try. Oh, never let anyone hurt you. He takes my hand into his large paws and leans closer to the bars, looking into my eyes. Not even the prince? Not even the prince. I'll tell him, listen, you little wretch, he's mine. There's a moment of blissful silence. We just enjoy each other's presence before he has to leave. His forehead is pressed to mine and I feel warmth. It's like whenever he's around, nothing else matters. He pulls away, still holding my hand. I'll be back, love. I always will. He steps away slowly, still trying to hold my hand. My fingertips slide off his gloved paw and he begins to walk away. I love you, Lyre. There's a pause and I hear him turn around. I love you too, Ifor. I'm going to do my best to help you in any way I can. After that, I hear him walk off. Sound of his padded feet walking down the halls fades away. With each step getting quieter, I feel more and more cold. I can even hear him pass a guard on the way out of the corridor. I can't make out what he says. The air and the weather begin to take over as I begin to feel weak. The sun is already beginning to set, and the temperature is dropping fast. I walk over to the bench and lay down on it, using the blanket as a sort of cushion. Small pains work their way throughout my body and up to my head, keeping me from worrying about how chilly it is down here. I probably should have asked Lyre if he could get someone to send Leaf down here. Probably doesn't want to see me right now, but I definitely need some medicine. Something to ease the pain. At least they can figure out what's going on. I just hope it's not anything lethal or anything with lasting effects. When did this even start? Only a few weeks ago, I think. I think only a little over a month ago I was back in Erin. My room was so comfortable and I had my own tower in the castle, which overlooked the entire capital and the ocean beyond. I'd watch the sunset over the horizon every evening while drinking the finest wine. The sun's golden light would bounce off the tops of the roofs and cast a yellow glow onto the misty air above. It was a pampered life, much better than that of my childhood, but I wasn't very happy. I rest my head on the pillow and close my eyes, trying to think of something other than my situation or the pain my body feels. Back then, every day was the same. I'd work for hours every day, and then what? Sometimes I would just sit in my room reading a book. Other times I'd visit the local brothel and try to have a night full of pleasure. Those nights were only full of temporary joy, though. Those men only took pleasure in my company because they were paid to. At the end of the night, I was left feeling empty. It was only a little over a year ago and I was naive. I still am. In spite of what's happened, I can't help but think being sent here was the best thing to happen to me. For the past month, life has felt like it's worth living. On the road here, I reminisced on the stories I read, the songs I heard to the lands beyond Erin. It made things seem exciting and simple. The songs lie, though. They tend to always do that. There is one thing I can be correct in my judgment on, however. I've met a gallant knight who loves me for who I am. Someone who doesn't want anything from me. All he wants is me. And I love him. But I can't fully rely on him to solve this predicament I'm in as much as I wish I could. I'll need to be able to find my own way out of this situation when the time comes. I need to play this smart. I lay there for what feels like a few more minutes with my mind jumping between thoughts. The pain in my head isn't going away either, the time passes faster and faster. In fact, it's getting worse. Having my eyes closed at this point just hurts, so I open them. The sun has just set over the mountains, its rays shining into the sky above are just barely visible. The moon is already high among the stars, and I watch small flurries of snow drift in through the window. Moonlight refracts through the snow, making each piece sparkle and glitter like stars. They land in a puddle on the ground and melt into the rest of the muddy water. For some reason, this visual fills me with a sense of sadness. I consider covering up the barred window with a blanket to allow for better sleep tonight. I don't have anything to hang it up with. Don't even have the desire to sleep anyway. The last thing I need is to slowly lose my sanity in this cell after having more nightmares. Ah! Another sharp pain surges through my body like lightning, causing me to sit up. Distorted, violent image flashes across my vision. My heart is racing despite the cold. I can feel myself sweating. There it is again. Stand there for another bolt of pain causing me to panic. Something must be terribly wrong. I have to call for help. There should be a guard at the end of it. Am I finally getting through? Great heavens above, that took years. I stop in my tracks and my eyes widen. First, I think there's someone outside of my cell talking to me, but... Hello? Nobody's there. The voice sounds as if it's echoing in my head. My body finishes tensing up and I feel a chill run down my spine. Am I dreaming? No, this isn't a dream. There's just something about it that feels different. It feels strange. And the horrible shock of pain slithers throughout my nerves, this time causing me to collapse onto the bench, similar to last night. My vision is slowly fading. So does everything else. The sound of wind. The smell of the musty cell. All of my senses have been shut down. Am I dying? Am I dead? No. I'm entirely sure if I was dead, either something or nothing would have happened by now. Right now, I'm just floating. If this was the afterlife, being trapped alone with my thoughts would surely send me over the edge. I must be dreaming again. But nothing's happening. For the briefest moment, I feel and think nothing. It's pure bliss. Suddenly, my vision is flooded with bright colours. A vortex spirals ahead of me, spinning rapidly and constantly changing. There are colours I've never seen before. Wind blows in my face and causes my clothes and hair to flow behind me in chaotic fashion. What the hell is going on? Usually my dreams aren't this crazy. I look down at the ground and realise there isn't any, which causes me to fall to my knees in shock. Wherever I'm standing on seems to be a thin sheet of glass, but it's too perfect to be anything like that. It's as smooth as silk and seems to run like water. A shimmering mist flies out from behind me where my legs touch the ground. It's not unlike how a ship leaves a wake as it cuts through water. My hands press into the glass firmly and it feels cold. It's not painful though. No matter how hard I press my hands into it, they won't sink beneath the surface. I consider this a good thing though, because on the other side is a chasm of spiralling colours. I slowly get up to stand on my feet. The wind is howling in my ears. There's a bright light up ahead, so bright that it hurts to look at. Along with the sound of the wind is echoing voices and noises. Some sounds are familiar, others I'd never even heard before. Bright embers that resemble stars float down from above and fly behind me at high speed. I look behind me and it's the same as in front. An endless chasm of tints and tones spinning like a whirlpool. Chills run down my back, causing me to physically shiver. This is beautiful, yet terrifying. Nobody is here from what I can tell. Doesn't stop me from calling out though. Hello? My voice echoes down the tunnel, repeating everything back to me as if mocking me. Is anyone there? Again, nothing but my own voice answering back with the same phrase. Amidst the mockery, there's another voice. You seem awfully calm. Usually most spend their first few moments either throwing up or shouting into the void with terror. It's that voice again. Where are you? Over here. I turn to face forward and have to strain my neck to look up. Before me stands a creature of large size, shrouded in bright iridescent flames. I alone have had to stand on Lyre's shoulders in order to be at eye level with them. Their fur is also shrouded in their natural dark shadow, completely unaffected by the blaze of flames behind them. Each tuft shines and refracts in the light like a perfectly polished piece of flint, with teal sparks flying off. It's a mesmerizing and terrifying sight. I sense a powerful energy coming off of them. 6 arms come out from their upper torso, each one looking different from the last. Not only that, there's also 2 tails. Their teal eyes pierce into my soul, but have a soft look to them. The last thing I notice is a shimmering green crease running across their pectoral, along with the glowing crest of Tigran on their belly. This part never changes, though. Are you done staring? Their voice is masculine and strong, but has a mellow tone to it. Not as threatening as their physical appearance. You'll have to forgive me. I find it very hard not to. One of their sets of arms crossed near the set places their paws firmly on their hips. You're not the first. All is forgiven. The sparks from the flames on their back fly by my face. If any are landing on me, they certainly don't hurt. Am I dreaming? There's a dreadfully long pause before they answer. It's complicated, but no. This isn't a dream, Ifor. Do you know me? Well, of course. I know a lot of things. Most of it is useless, but it has its moments. They talk a lot, almost like a child talking to an adult in a very fast manner. Am I dead? This time they answer immediately. No, you're not dead. Then what's going on? The wind around us rushes faster, changing current in an unpredictable way. The sound is loud but not oppressive. Shimmering dust flies out from under their padded feet and blows past me like a sandstorm. Ivor, I'm going to explain this in a way that is easy to understand, but it will be shocking. I somehow doubt you'll have too much trouble understanding this, though. Understanding what? That you are a very gifted person. What are they talking about? No, I'm not. What gift could I possibly have? Yes, you are. You might even consider it a curse. That depends how you use it. Use what? They take a moment to answer, crossing a set of their arms. Have you ever had dreams that seem real? Experiences that are not your own? They hold up a paw. Has there ever been a moment where you've been attacked by terrible headaches and sharp pains? Yes, once or twice, but... A shiver runs up my body. The legs I've been kneeling on begin to feel weak. Those are just nightmares. Coincidences. They point at me. Is that truly what you believe? Or is it just what you want to believe? This question sits in my ears and blocks out the noise of everything else around me. They're right. These aren't just coincidences, and deep down I've always known that. What is going on? You have an ability. You may not consider yourself a special person, but you have a very special ability, and I'm here to guide you through controlling it. You're going to tell me what this is? Since your birth, you've had the ability to see beyond the present. Those dreams you had were visions, Ivor. Visions of the past from others' perspective. What? That's not possible. It's... How could that even work? I think back to the horrible nightmare I had about Raynar. Was that... You've had this ability your whole life, but over time it has weakened. The potential for this power becomes weaker with each person who inherits it. The span of time that a mortal has been able to inherit it has increased to just above 100 years. Most of your race has likely forgotten about these individuals. You only just now having clear visions, but you're not able to control them. That is why I am here. My head feels light and the feeling in my feet is completely gone. Who are you? You don't know who I am yet? This was expected. To your people I am known and named for many things. The Creator, the Supreme Being. I've even been referred to as a demon on more than one occasion. But I am simply the one who built the foundations for this world. The one who guides everything, yet has no control. Tigran. A short pause follows after my outburst before he responds. What? The wind begins to slow down, becoming a light breeze, and the colours around us slow down like a wheel on a cart. You're Tigran, aren't you? The god that created our world. The one who our continent is named after. The wake of dust flying out beneath us is now a gentle cloud of sand. It's relieving not to have the sound of wind in my ear anymore, but now this area feels empty. Yes, I am Tigran. I am the god of your world, but here I am just a guide. You hold almost as much power here as I do. And this form you've taken, it's a trick? A trick of the light. Before me now stands a tiger, vibrant and strong with glowing green eyes. They're not just a tiger, though. Their form is made up of 3 different animals, what I can tell. The second animal is some sort of reptile. It looks like a snake from the tail, but I could be wrong. The last animal is a bird. Large winged hands that are yellow as honey sprout from beneath their other sets of arms. They're completely naked but have no reproductive organs. How did you know I was your god? Most don't figure out that fast, especially not the non-religious ones. I haven't been to a place of worship in years. Remember your form being that of a chimera. Also recognize the symbol on your torso. I say this, slightly pointing the triangle on their belly. Interesting. And I thought you weren't able to keep a level head in dire situations. He chuckles to himself, each belt booming through the cavern. It just came to me, I suppose. Now, if it's okay, I'd like to take up more of your time by asking some more questions. Time doesn't pass here. Well, for me it doesn't, but if you come here unconscious, then it will. So, I am asleep. Is this the heavens? Afterlife? They shake their head. No. The afterlife is a completely different ordeal. Something I won't explain to you. It would end up being a burden. They raise a hand. This is your mind's eye. The place where you can transcend time and body. They gesture around with their arms. It's your sanctuary. My sanctuary? Why is it so calm now? It is yours. It will react to your emotions and your thoughts. I study the way the walls of this tunnel move slowly, almost if they're barely moving at all. I never see it get this calm this fast. I walk up to one of the curved walls of the chasm and run my fingers along the side. They cut into the wall, and on the other side is more layers of light. Dust flies off my hands, similar to the floor. I've had a lot to stress about lately. I wanted a room in my mind to fret about this, especially since I still don't know what this means for me yet. He puts on a quizzical look. What this means for you? I know you're doing your best to explain this, but it's a lot to take in. Along with that, my mind tends to wander a lot. Well, that's okay. This isn't something you could comprehend in a day. Not only that, but I'm a bit restricted. Restricted? They raise a hand to their chest and run a finger on the glowing scar. A punishment from the higher gods. Tiger and Scar? I remember that the mountain range northwest of Erin was named for religious reasons. I didn't think it was that important. Yes. Stops me from giving away too much information to mortals. Past events caused great chaos and left me punished. So you can share your wisdom with me, but not direct knowledge. They frown. Yes. The collective knowledge of this world is something you will have to attain yourself. It is not something I can give you. Or the collective knowledge of the world. That could make someone extremely powerful. But something feels off. There must be a catch. Earlier you said this was a curse. Something that could either help or burden me. Their eyes brighten. I can see they've been eager to have this brought up. That I did. This ability is extremely powerful. The higher gods sometimes question me for bestowing it. Their tails swish as they scratch their chin with a tiger paw. But the world needs someone to act as their guide. Guide them toward a brighter future by making sure the mistakes of the past are not repeated. This power should only be used for the greater good. Any avatar who uses it for selfish intentions is punished, and the cycle grows weaker. The breeze around me sends a chill up my spine as they say this. So I'll ask you this one question. I ask it of everyone. Everything around me slows, even the mist beneath my feet. If you could see any event from the past and any event from the future, what would they be? And answer truthfully. I'll know if you're lying. I look down the ground and attempt to think about this question hard. This is always so much fun. I guess I'll start with the first. If I could see any event from the past, what would it be? To be honest, the first thing that comes to mind is what I've been questioning for the past day. Who killed Raynar? Is that selfish, though? No, I don't think it is. I want justice for our king. This isn't just to save myself. This isn't about me. But what would I do if I could see the future? Tigran didn't mention being able to see the future. Maybe it's a trick question. I'm ready to answer. Good, go on. If I could see anything in the past, I want to see who murdered our king. Not for the safety of myself, but for the justice of his kingdom. An interesting answer. And about the future? I gather my thoughts and continue. The future is more difficult. The possibilities are endless and there's no event that is set in stone. But in a theoretical sense, I suppose I would wish to see a tragic event before it happens, so that I could prevent it. Tigran bites their lower lip with curiosity before responding. That's a unique response. It isn't the first time I've heard it, though. They step back. Thank you for answering my question. You have provided me with great insight. So it's true then? They stop in their tracks and look down at me. Can I really see the past? Is it really possible for me to figure out who killed my king? They rub their chin with one of their hands and look at me with a concerned gaze. Yes, it is possible. But you will need to train. Right now your experience only allows you to see distant memories. And this has only happened because of certain triggers. Hearing them say this reminds me of how I had that vision of Elena's death right after hearing about it. That happened 10 years ago. Anything recent would be harder to grasp. A twisted memory of the past. They sigh. For the past month, you've been becoming your own person more and more. No longer are you an onlooker or a passerby. You finally removed your mask. Okay. We will speak again. How? I have a feeling you already know. And with that, their figure slowly fades away, the light behind them refracting through their body like glass. First, I'm lost, not knowing what to do next. Then I feel an empty pain in my stomach. I can feel my eyes physically gleam with light as everything around me closes. I hear one last thing, for I'm enveloped in comforting darkness. Your eyes can see beyond the horizon, beyond the skyline. Use this. I'm back in the cell. My head is leaning up against the wall, my body is sprawled out on the stone bench. My body feels completely exhausted, but not in a sleepy way. Was I dreaming? I lift myself up slightly and look out of the window. The sun's rays are still being cast over the mountain like a golden crown. Time didn't pass. If I only slept a wink, the light from the sun shouldn't be visible at all. So it was real. Either that or I'm crazy. Can I really see into the past? It would make sense considering everything that's happened. That vision I had when I was looking through Raynar's eyes. It was too real. Does this mean I could do it again? See back in time and figure out who killed him? I can't see how it would help me, though. Not like anyone would believe me. I take the ring off my finger and fiddle with it in my hands, sliding on and off, watching it gleam in the moonlight. Focusing on objects helps me think. I see another object gleam in the light. It's a shimmering object stuck in one of the piles of straw like it's been hidden. Walking over to it, I reach in and pull out a small shard of glass. No, it's a piece of a mirror, about as big as a spearhead. Maybe someone's going to use it as a weapon. I lift it up to my face and try to look into it to see a reflection. The shard is scratched to hell and there's not a very clear image. My face is slightly warped in reflection, but I can make out everything. My hair is a bit dishevelled. I look like I haven't slept in 2 days. Something does strike me as odd. I swear my eyes were green. Now I get a closer look. They're blue. An extremely bright and vibrant blue, almost like diamonds. They were green before, I swear they were. Suddenly I think back to what Tigran said a few minutes ago. You finally removed your mask. Maybe there's a correlation to my eyes changing colour in those visions. A side effect of some sort. Place the mirror shard deeper in the straw pile I got it from, making sure nobody would be able to see it. Still got the ring in my hand, walk back over to the bench, sitting down right with my back to the window. I feel stuck. Like everything that's happened so far has led me here and now I can't do anything. I only hope to try and see the past. I've done it before, I know I have. This isn't a trigger, I need to start believing it. Even if nobody believes me, I can try to figure out evidence. Proof that can be used against the killer. Even so, I can have some solace in knowing who the killer is when I'm executed. Tremble shoots up my body to think about being walked to the chopping block. That won't happen. I'll find a way. I'll have Lyre to help me along the way. Live by one's wits. Who was that? First it sounded like Tigran is speaking to me. They don't sound like that. The voice is muffled and twisted. There's someone to grab the words and wring them out like a rag. And yet they feel familiar. Like I've heard them before. Live by one's wits. Advice, maybe? Another past memory sent to torture my mind with riddles is more likely. Makes me almost wish I didn't have this skill. I shake my head slightly and focus on the ring again. I need to play this smart. Can't go around acting like a fool anymore. This is the forest and the fox being burned out of its den. My only hope is to find another way to tunnel out. I'm going to need help from those I trust. There we go, a new character. And another voice I really enjoy doing. Yes, I always like those kind of voices there. So Tigran hopefully will be in there a bit more because I really enjoy playing them. So that is it for Lyre for the moment. I'm not quite sure what's happening next weekend. There may be back some more burrows, or we may be starting a new series. I'm waiting on some news on something else. So one of those two will be happening next weekend. And my voice is starting to give out. I'm still not quite over this virus. So to wrap up quickly, thanks as always to all my donors on Ko-fi and Patreon, and my top patrons are Nightscale, Big Booty Judy, Omar, Samuto, Andy Peng, Mohammed Al-Zamel, Aaron Fox, Exac, Evan King, Marcus, Sindri Dragawolf, Kopi, Spiderling, Grizz, Dissonance, Anubis Silverwind, Alec Orval, Tiger Cub, Brian Hall, Bastion, Lark Huskerton, Besuksu, Cobras Vissa, Kartek, and Burnt Toast. Special thanks to all of them. My Patreon is down in the link, and all the details for Lyre if you want to support this VN are there as well. So that's it. I'm going to wrap up and make myself a cup of tea, which I think I need. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.